appliances, we'll be talking about the types of the clasp which are used, modification of Adams clasp, label bows, and cantilever springs. Now, we all know that the components of a removable orthodontic appliances are the retentive component, which holds the appliance firmly in the mouth. Active components, when the force is applied, it causes effective tooth movement, and anchoring unit is the one which affects tooth movement by resisting unwanted tooth movement. So retentive components include the clasp. Active components are including the label bows, the springs, the elastics, and the screws which are used, and anchoring unit is the base plate. Now looking at the clasp in orthodontic appliances, we have the circumferential clasp. You need to know all the names which are also, it is called as the C clasp, the three-quarter clasp. We have the Adams clasp, which is also called as the Liverpool clasp or the universal clasp. The question can be asked in any format. So you all need to know how you're going to write the answers. Crozat clasp, the Jackson's U clasp, the Southern clasp, which is for anterior retention of the anterior, the Crozat clasp, which is for posterior retention. It is said to be more effective than the U clasp. Schwartz clasp, which is the predecessor of the Adams clasp, and we have the Bolland clasp, which is for use for additional retention, and triangular clasp, which are also used for additional retention. Single arrowhead Adams. What are the various modifications of Adams clasp, which are again often asked not only in theory but also in vivas? We have the single arrowhead Adams clasp. We have Adams with the J hook for elastic engagement. We also have for elastic engagement we have the Adams with the helices. We have Adams with the distal extension, which can be used for engagement of the elastics. Then we have Adams with additional arrowheads. We have Adams with soldered buckle tubes for engagement of headgears if required, and Adams on incisors are also there for anterior retention. Various types of labial bows which are seen, which is again an active component. Now we have short labial bow, which is primarily used for anterior retraction, anterior space closures, mild anterior space closures. We have the long labial bow. If we have canine spaces which are opening up, then we probably need a labial bow which runs from premolar to premolar. We have a split labial bow which can be used for closure of the midline diastemas. We have a reverse labial bow which incorporates greater length of the bile and therefore lesser spaces, lesser forces. We have the Roberts retractor for increased overjet cases or mild moderate proclination of the anteriors. We have the fitted labial bow, which can be used along with the retainer, and they fit beautifully along and adapt beautifully along the anterior teeth. We have the labial bow with the high apron spring, again for lightest forces, and the Mills retractor. Various types of springs which are components in mobile appliances, again like the labial bow, used to affect tooth movements. Now whatever the class based on the presence or absence of the helices. They are based on the presence of loops or helices in the springs, or based on the nature of stability. So looking at the based on the absence of helices, we have with simple without helices and sometimes with compound with helices. My internet connection is based on the presence of loops or helices. We have helical spring, and we have loop spring. That is, we'll say the U-shaped canine retractors. Based on the nature of stability, we have the self-supported or the supported spring. Various types of springs that we see here, they are also called as the cantilever springs. Please note down. That is, one end of the active component is free and one end is embedded, and that's why it is called as the single cantilever spring. We also have a double cantilever spring, which is the Z spring for the labial movement of the anterior tooth. We have the crank single lever and cantilever spring. We have the coffin spring, which is used for expansion. And we have the T-spring, which is used for the buccal movement of the premolars. We have the screws. These are active components that can be incorporated into the removable appliances. It can be used for expansion of the entire expansion. It can be used for distalization of the molars. Also, we need to know that the thread of the screw, the distance between the thread of the screw is the distance that is traversed, and it is also called as the pitch of the screw for expansion activation. Elastics, which are seldom used for activation of the anterior teeth or the space closure, but because of the slippage, they are rarely used. There is base plate, which we said is the anchored unit of the removable appliance. It is the unites all the components of the appliance into one unit. It helps in anchoring the appliance in place. It provides support for the wire components and helps in distributing the forces over large area. Biplanes can also be incorporated, which we'll be talking here. Biplanes can be incorporated in these base plates. We have the anterior biplane, which can be used for disoccluding the posterior teeth, and posterior biplane, which is used sometimes for correction of crossbite or for intrusion of the molars. These are the frequently asked questions. Now, let us look at the fixed orthodontic appliance. I'm going to take you to an array of topics. We know that with removable appliances, the dimension of tooth movement is very restricted. However, with fixed orthodontic appliances, we can achieve a lot more tooth movement, like tipping. We see removable appliances, we see more of tipping type of tooth movement. But however, here with fixed orthodontic appliances, we can achieve bodily type of tooth movement. We can achieve mesiodistal uprighting. We can achieve intrusion, occlusion, as well as torquing, which we've already discussed. What are the condenses which usually the advisor appliance, the lingual appliance, and the components, and we are also going to look at the components of all these fixed appliances in brief. We're going to talk about the direct bonding, how are the brackets fixed in direct method, direct bonding or indirect bonding. We have the arch wires and the debonding methods. Now, looking at the contemporary fixed appliances, typically consist of wire treatment, as we all know. So, to begin with the earlier fixed appliances, where it started off from, is the E-arch by Edward Angle, the father of modern orthodontics, and the ribbon arch appliance, which then progressed into the edgewise appliance and the modern edgewise appliance. So, talking first about the Begg appliance, Raymond Begg modified the Angle's ribbon arch technique and introduced the Begg light wire technique. It used the concept of differential force and tipping of the teeth rather than bodily. So, Begg, because it believed in tipping of the tooth movement, the relative force which was required or the used during this Begg appliance were much lighter forces. Therefore, it was also called as a light wire treatment, light wire technique. So they had three main stages of Begg technique, that is alignment, correction of crowding, rotation, correction and closure of any anterior spaces, and creating an edge-to-edge bite. This was the objectives of the stage 1 of Begg. In stage 2, we had space closure of the posterior spaces, extraction spaces, and in stage 3, there was any uprighting and torquing which was required in order, because we initially have tipped the teeth, so we needed to upright or torque the teeth, which was carried out in stage 3 in order to achieve the normal axial inclination of the teeth. Contemporary edgewise appliances, the major steps in evolution of the edgewise appliance was the automatic rotation control, because there were twin brackets, and also extension wings could be provided for rotation correction if required. Alteration in the bracket slot, so we had basically 018 slot as well as the 022 slot, and the straight wire prescriptions that were pre-programmed brackets which were used in the edgewise appliance. The most universally used today is the pre-adjusted edgewise straight wire appliance, which is a recent modification of the edgewise appliance introduced by Lawrence F. Andrews in 1970s, based on the 6 keys of normal occlusion as described by Shweta Bhatt ma'am. Here we see that the wire is basically, it is called as the edgewise appliance, as we see in the straight wire as well as the edgewise appliance. The reason is because the wire is inserted in the edgewise mode, as different from the Begg appliance where the wire is inserted in the ribbon mode. So what they decided to do in the edgewise appliance, they decided to turn the wire by 90 degrees during the horizontal. The vertical slot was therefore converted into a horizontal slot. In a straight wire appliance, we see pre-adjusted edgewise straight wire appliance. We see the brackets are programmed to have the first order bend, that is the in-out bend, the mesiodistal correction bend, and also the torquing bends. Therefore, minimal wire bending was required in these correction or uprighting of the teeth, as different from the edgewise appliance, where you needed, even after the alignment, you may have needed some amount of wire bending in order to correct these kinds of tooth movements, tipping and torquing. The other fixed appliance, which is the lingual appliance, which was introduced by Cavett-Koos in 1976. The brackets were placed on the lingual surface of the teeth. They were highly aesthetic compared to the banded appliances. However, they had poor access and difficulty in speech and maintaining oral hygiene. What is the difference? This is a very commonly asked question. What is the difference between Begg and edgewise technique? Begg technique was introduced by Raymond Begg. Edgewise was introduced by Edward Angle. Used the concept of differential force and tipping rather tipping of the teeth rather than bodily type of tooth movement. This enabled control of teeth in all the three planes of space in edgewise, used high strength stainless steel wires, resilient wires with number of auxiliaries and springs. Here, rectangular arch wires in rectangular slots along with incorporation of bends like first order, second order, third order bends were needed. Decreased friction between the wire and the bracket because there was a lot of play between the bracket slot and the wire. And there was increase. However, in edgewise technique, the wire snugly fitted to the slot. Therefore, there was increased friction between the wire and the bracket, especially during space closures. Need to apply in Beck. It basically believed in tipping of the tooth movement. Of course, initially uncontrolled, but later on with modification of the Beck technique, it was more of control tipping. However, light forces were more desirable. However, in edgewise technique, since there is a bodily type of tooth movement, they need to apply much more heavier forces as compared to the Beck technique. External forces were not required to conserve anchorage. However, in edgewise technique, there was a requirement for external anchorage. What are the components that we see in the fixed appliance? We have the arch wires, springs, elastics, separators. We have the passive components like the bands, brackets, buckle tubes, lock pins, and ligature wires. We have the methods. Initially, when the patient walks in, we need to do the separation of the teeth in order to insert the band. We have a few types of separators like the K separator, the Kessling separator, as we can see here. We have the brass wire separation, or we have the elastic separator, or we even have the rapid separators. Banding is basically because the help in firm, they are more rigid in attachment of any kind of a lingual or labial attachments which are put on the teeth. And bonding is done either through direct bonding, that is, the brackets are fixed on the chair, or in indirect bonding where the trays are prepared in the laboratory, and then the indirect bonding favors in giving more accurate placement of the brackets in order to to avoid any kind of variations. Classification of arch wires, we have based on the gold and gold alloys. We have stainless steel arch wires, we have nickel titanium alloys, the bitter titanium alloys, the cobalt chromium alloys, and the cobalt chromium nickel alloys, and Optiflex arch wires. We have cross sections which are based on round, square, rectangular, and the triaxial and the multi-stranded arch wires. This is also a very commonly asked question. What are the ideal requirements for orthodontic wires? We need to have the spring back property, that is measure of how far a wire can be deflected without causing permanent deformation. Therefore, NITA wires are preferable in case of aligning of the teeth. Stiffness depends upon which stage of treatment it is. So we need less stiff wires in cases of aligning, as well as later on during space closure and finishing. We need they're not finishing, but to maintain the arches, we need to have more stiffer wires. Formability, it can bend and it has to have a high yield strength. Biocompatibility, it should be biocompatible to us, and it should be resistant to tarnish and corrosion and be non-toxic. Joinable, it should be easy to weld and solder if any attachment or any hook has to be soldered onto the arch wire. Friction, it has to have least friction at the wire bracket interface. It should be resilient and environmentally stable. Debonding, we can use debonding pliers. Even thermal debonding and laser debonding is also done in the recent times. After the adhesive is removed with a burr during the debonding procedure, and then later on a prophylactic paste is used in order for polishing of the surfaces for removing of this. Difference, commonly another common question is, what is the difference between a fixed appliance and removable appliances? We have, in fixed appliance, we have precise three-dimensional control of the tooth movement, whereas in removable appliance, we have less precise tooth movement. We can have, in fixed appliances, we can have bodily type of tooth movement, whereas in removable appliances, we have only tipping type of tooth movement. In fixed appliances, we have complex malocclusions which can be treated. However, in removable appliances, simple malocclusions only can be treated, like minor space closures. And high anchorage requirement is seen in fixed appliance, whereas less anchorage requirement is seen in removable appliances. Multiple tooth movements can be done in the fixed appliance. However, few tooth movements or one or two tooth movements can be done using the removable appliances. Oral hygiene may be problematic in fixed appliances. Good oral hygiene, as the appliance can be removed, therefore good oral hygiene can be done. It is not dependent on the patient compliance. Removable appliances are highly dependent on the patient compliance. It has a long chairside time with the fixed appliances. However, the chairside time is very minimal with these removable appliances and easy to correct rotations. However, with removable appliances, it is extremely difficult to correct rotations. These are frequently asked